I'm Karaleigh Garrison, and this is Seeking Sunshine, where we are going to find the positive in the trials of life.
'Cause I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, 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 I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine.
Hey, I'm Karaleigh Garrison. Welcome back to Seeking Sunshine. Today, our topic is seeking sunshine in body image, obesity, and weight loss. It is a difficult subject to talk about because it's something that I've struggled with my entire life. I come from a big family, and I mean big as in plus size, and so I have a lot of feelings about that. So this has been a topic that's been around me in my life since I was a child. As a little kid, I wasn't really fat, but I definitely thought that I was. By the time that I got to middle school, I was afraid to eat in front of people because they would think that I was fat if I was eating, or they would think that I was going to get fatter from eating. I would hide while I ate lunch and try not to eat in front of other people. I would try to not let other people see me eat because I thought that they would think negatively of me because of that. I blamed most of my failures on my weight. Whenever I didn't get an audition that I really wanted, I told myself that it was because of my weight. It was because of the way I looked that they didn't want me to play whatever part. And that kind of blinded me to a lot of other truths. I kind of hid behind my weight emotionally. It was a blockade that I put up of everything wrong in my life is because of my weight. People who don't want to be friends with me, people who don't like me personally, it must just be because of the way I look. And so I hid behind it, and that was unhelpful. We live in an age where most women believe that their self-worth is tied to their appearance, and especially their weight or size. And that was definitely true of me. I was sure that if I could just look better, people would like me more. By the end of high school, I definitely thought that I was plus size. I was definitely bigger than all the other girls, or at least I was bigger than or at least I thought that I was bigger than all the other girls. My self-confidence was pretty low at that time. So I went off to college, and I wanted to be a singer, and I auditioned and I didn't get in, and I was sure that something about the way I looked was the reason why they didn't accept me. When I first started college, my roommates were gorgeous and skinny and blonde and just everything that I wasn't. And I was so jealous of them. They constantly had boys asking for their phone numbers, asking them out. They were constantly going on dates. And for a while there, I didn't think that anybody at BYU would like me. I worried that I would never get married. I worried that because of the way I looked, I wasn't having the opportunities to date like my friends were. But something funny happened. One day I went to lunch at the freshman dining hall, and this guy named Jacob Garrison walked up to me and started talking to me. And my first thought was, this is just out of pity. He sees me sitting here by myself, and he pities me. So he came over to talk to me. And now I was working on my homework, and I didn't really have time to be pitied that day, so I wasn't super nice to him. I tried to brush him off so I could finish my work because I had class very soon, and I needed to finish my work for my class. But he persisted. He asked me for my phone number very awkwardly. He asked me what my name was, and then he got that question mark look in his eye, and I showed him my ID because my name is hard to spell, and it didn't make any sense when I said it out loud. But he got my phone number, and we started texting each other, and a week later we went on our first date, and within 2 weeks, we knew, and we started planning our wedding. It turns out that whether or not you get married has nothing to do with how you look, or even your self-esteem. He thought I was beautiful, and sexy, and gorgeous, and amazing, just the way I was. But still, my self-confidence struggled. We went on to have 3 kids. And the more kids I had, the more weight I gained. I wasn't able to breastfeed, and I think that's one of the contributing factors to why I wasn't able to lose weight in between pregnancies. It also didn't help that my first and second are only 14 months apart, and so my daughter was only about 6 months old when I got pregnant with my second. That's not very much time to lose baby weight. So I gained weight with each pregnancy and found it very difficult to lose it again. After my second was born, I started exercising regularly A friend of mine had actually lost a bunch of weight and looked really amazing, and so I talked to her about what she did, and she highly recommended a medication called phentermine. So I went to my doctor, and I got a prescription for phentermine to help me lose weight. If you've had any experience with phentermine, you might know that it makes your heart race. It's sort of like Adderall for people who don't have ADHD. It increases your heart rate, it lowers your hunger, and I'll be honest with you, as a tired mom, I loved it. I relied on it so much. But there are laws with phentermine, and you can only take it sporadically. You can't take it regularly for months at a time. You have to take breaks. And every time those breaks would come, I'd go through withdrawals. I'd be so tired and lethargic, and it was really, really difficult. I wished that I could just be on phentermine all the time. But because of the phentermine, I was able to lose about 40 pounds, and then I was able to get pregnant with our third. And then I gained more weight with him, because every time I got pregnant, I gained more weight. So after 3 kids, 3 pregnancies, and the toll that took on my body, I weighed just shy of 300 pounds, and I was having a really hard time loving myself. But then something kind of amazing happened, and I was able to model clothes for my friend who sold LuLaRoe, and I kind of became an unofficial plus-size model, and I loved it so much. I have this deep love for fashion and styling and fabrics and clothing and patterns and prints and finding ways to make clothes look good on my body. And I had this wonderful opportunity to use my skills with these clothes. I was able to tie them up in knots in various ways and change how they looked and make them look really great. And it was really fun and exciting. And what's more, I gained such a confidence boost from so many amazing people telling me how great I looked in these clothes. Now you've got to remember that I was taking these pictures of myself, and so I was able to stand in certain ways and style the clothes in certain ways that were able to hide all of my most hated body parts. I guess I should describe my body so that you have a better idea of where my struggles come from. I wasn't just a plus-size girl. I didn't have like a typical plus-size shape. I have what a lot of people refer to as a mother's apron. The technical medical term for it is a pannus. I've had this, it's hanging skin below the belly button, and it kind of sort of like a tube around my waist. And I've had it since I was a teenager. Since long before I had kids, it's always been a problem in my life. It's genetic. It comes from my mother's side of the family, and it's a family trait. Not really something that you can get rid of with exercise and dieting. It is just kind of there. And so when I would model these clothes and take these photos, I was able to take them in a way that hid this part of my body. My style has long been empire waists with flowy skirts, whether that's in a top or a dress, it doesn't matter, because I have to have something big and flowy to camouflage that part of my body. I cannot wear shirts tucked into pants because it shows that part of my body that I hate the most. My style's been pretty restricted because of my self-hate for that part of my body. Because for as long as I can remember, I have done everything in my power to make it look like that wasn't there, to hide it and camouflage it and look normal. But I've come to realize my body shape isn't very normal. In some ways it feels like I'm disfigured, and I know that my ability to camouflage it maybe makes it so that I know there are people who have it so much worse than I do, but that doesn't change how hard this particular trial has been for me. So because of LuLaRoe and the amazing people I met in my friends group, I gained some self-confidence in my plus-size body. And even though I was at my biggest, I learned to embrace my plus-sizeness. I embraced my big girl body and decided to be loud and proud about my curves. I was still trying to camouflage that part of my body that I hated, but at least I had a platform. I had a place I belonged. Body positivity. I can be beautiful, I can be sexy and still be plus size. I can be amazing and beautiful and happy and still be curvy and still be overweight. And it worked for a while. I convinced myself that I had confidence in my body. I certainly was still struggling to love the specific parts of my body, to love my actual skin and not just the idea of being a plus-size powerhouse. And I was doing fine. People were complimenting me all the time on my gorgeous outfits. I love putting together beautiful outfits. I love leaving my house and looking fabulous. It's one of my very favorite things to do. And I did that for so long, and I looked great, and people told me I looked great. Strangers would compliment me on my outfits. They would compliment me on my makeup and tell me how gorgeous I was. And I loved it, and it was great. I certainly still had insecurities deep down, but they were covered up enough that they didn't really bother me. And then, in about January of 2020, as it does from time to time, inspiration hit me like a truck. For my entire life, I never, ever thought that I would have bariatric surgery. I never thought that it was the right path for me. I never thought that I needed it. I never thought I was fat enough to have bariatric surgery. It just wasn't for me. But all of a sudden, inspiration hit, and I knew that I was supposed to have gastric sleeve surgery that year. And so I started doing the research. I started learning all about it. I joined Facebook groups, and I read people's stories of their experience. I changed my lifestyle. I stopped drinking Diet Mountain Dew. I started eating healthier. Although I'd been on phentermine for a while, because I hadn't changed my lifestyle on it, I'd lost some weight, but not a ton. But then when I changed my lifestyle, I was actually able to lose about 50 pounds from my highest weight ever down to when I had surgery. And so in July 2020, I had gastric sleeve surgery right in the middle of the pandemic. I was already at my lowest weight in years. My surgery weight, I'll just tell you, was 235, and I'm 5'2", if that gives you a hint of where I'm at. I'd been feeling really confident in my skin, and I went into surgery feeling like I loved my body already, feeling happy and satisfied with the skin I was in. So I thought that I was mentally prepared for all the challenges the surgery would bring, and in a lot of ways I was. I've been through way worse surgeries, like my C-section with my youngest. My body's been through far more trauma, and I was able to handle the struggles of not being able to walk without pain for about a month. I didn't really lose much hair because my body's already been through so much trauma that this wasn't really very shocking to me. I was able to follow the liquid diet for about a month, 2 weeks before the surgery and 2 weeks after, and it was hard, but it was manageable. I was determined and I was ready to do this. But here I am, 1 year and maybe a few months after surgery, and I can tell you that the hard part was not the surgery. The hard part was not the diet restrictions at the beginning. The hard part has been the mental struggle that has happened since. It turns out that when you lose a large amount of weight, and my total weight loss has been a little over 100 pounds, it turns out that when you lose a large amount of weight, you don't become a skinny person. Your body does not become a skinny body. It just kind of deflates. And after you put in all that work, and after you do the tough things that are necessary to lose that much weight, it is unbelievably disheartening to find yourself with a flabby body, with loose, disgusting skin hanging everywhere. It is devastating to discover that you no longer fit into that plus-size group, but you also still don't fit in the skinny people group, because skinny is not the way to describe this body. This body is far, far from skinny. Now, don't get me wrong, people compliment me, and they tell me how skinny I look, and instead of telling them, I do tell them thank you, but my brain defies it. My brain says, no, 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 no. You don't know what this body really looks like under these clothes. You can't see the drooping flesh. You can't see the hanging skin that is here because I've hidden it really well. You can't see this melted ice cream cone of a body that I now live in. You can't see the deflated balloon beneath all this skin. And what's worse is maybe they can. One of the worst moments for me was when I went to see my doctor who had performed the surgery for my year post-op appointment. And he asked me how I was doing, and I said something along the lines of, I'm great, but I'm very anxious for skin removal surgery. And he turned and looked at me and he said, oh yes, I can see it under your dress. That struck me through the heart like a knife because I thought I was hiding it so well. It turns out I didn't love my body quite as much as I thought I did before this surgery, before the weight loss. It turns out I hadn't really fully accepted the skin that I'm in. I had not fully come to love my body. Because if I had, that drastic change maybe wouldn't have thrown me for such a loop. In the months following my surgery, as I dropped weight drastically, I faced depression like I've never felt in my entire life. My self-esteem, that was pretty stable before, plummeted. And don't even get me started about clothes. Clothes that should fit me but don't, because clothes that are made for people with this body shape are plus-size clothes. I went from wearing about a 3X to a smaller, medium, or large, depending on the style and depending on the company, because goodness knows sizes mean nothing. They're so different. I actually have a 2X shirt that is comparable to an extra small that still doesn't fit me, and I've got it in reserve for someday when it does. Clothes that are meant for small bodies are not made with the same shape that clothes are made for big bodies. But I still have a big body shape. I still have a plus size figure, even though I'm wearing small and medium. And so it's been really difficult to find clothes that I feel confident in. And what's more, my body's been changing so drastically that clothes that I used to feel confident in months ago, I can't wear right now. My skin has sagged so much that now they're too short to camouflage that hanging skin. I'm at this point where it's difficult to find any clothes that I feel confident in, because anything that fits me well somewhere fits me badly somewhere else. Any clothing I find that actually fits my shoulders appropriately shows every roll of flesh on my stomach. And that roll is not just the big one on the bottom, but all the way up. I have rolls through my back and through my stomach of just hanging skin. And the only way to camouflage them is to wear shapewear all the time. But I have not yet sunk to that level because it's too uncomfortable to wear that all the time. This has been one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. And I've had to learn how to love my body even when I find it disgusting. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very hopeful that I'm going to be able to have skin removal surgery coming up very soon. But I've learned through this whole journey that if I can't love myself as I am now, there is nothing that I can change physically that will fix that self-hate. I have to be able to love myself, flaws and all, to somehow find beauty in them, to find something good, to find, dare I say, to find the sunshine in the flabbiness of my body as it is now. I have to find some way to love myself, even knowing that I'm going to be having surgery to fix some of these issues. In case you're wondering, it is definitely medically necessary, and insurance is going to cover at least part of this surgery because it's that bad. This isn't just hanging skin that's causing self-esteem issues and causing clothes to not look good. This is hanging skin that causes really horrible, painful rashes. It makes it so that it hurts to lay down. It causes pain in addition to shame. But I've gone through this journey in the last even just couple weeks as I've worked so hard to find something good here, to find some way to accept my body as it is, to find beauty and joy here before surgery, before I can have any of it fixed. Because I know that having that one part fixed is not going to fix how I feel about my body. So I wanted to tell you some of the things that I've learned and some of the ways that I have found to find sunshine in my body and in my body image, because I know that I am not the only one who is struggling with self-esteem, who is struggling to love the body that I'm in. There are things that we all hate about our bodies. I'm so not alone in this. But whether you are still plus size, hoping to not be anymore, whether you are too skinny, whether you have extra skin that you just loathe, whether you are missing body parts, missing limbs, missing fingers or toes, whether you feel like you are disfigured in some way, feel you're unattractive, it's so important to learn how to love yourself. How can you improve your life if you don't first start by loving yourself? It is so important. So my challenge to you is to find the sunshine in your body. Find something beautiful. And if you want an even harder challenge, find something beautiful in the part that you hate the most. I finally was able to do it. After a lifetime of fighting my body, of hating how I looked, of hating this part of my body that hangs, that makes my figure abnormal, that makes me look fat no matter how skinny I am. I finally found sunshine in it, and it has changed everything. I had this incredible realization. This part of my body, this mother's apron, this panis, has been with me since I was very young. It's genetic. It ties me to my mother and to my grandmother for generations. These big arms that are now bat wings because they've lost all the fat in them, but they didn't shrink. Those came from my other grandmother, who I love so dearly, and I miss her so much since she passed many years ago. These parts of my body that I loathe, they tie me to my family. I am not the only one. I am not the only woman in my family to hate these parts of my body. They connect me to people who love me and struggle with the same issues. And so the sunshine that I found in these body parts is that love that I have for them, for my mother, for my grandmothers. We have this common physical flaw, and yet how amazing and beautiful and strong are they. I love my mother and my grandmothers, even though I'm sure they have those parts of their bodies that they don't like. I never cared about them. I didn't notice them. They didn't change their value to me. So why should I let those same parts of my body change my value to myself? Those parts of my body that I hate tie me to my family. And I'm still working on this transformation, but they are becoming symbols of love instead of symbols of hate. And that changes everything. I've got 5 ways that I want to talk to you about. 5 ways that you can find sunshine in your body. I hope that you will listen to these and take them to heart and practice them every day because they are so important. And I think that we really need practical steps that we can take to learn how to love our bodies more. Because just saying that you want to love your body more doesn't change how you really feel. But if you practice these 5 steps, I think it will change your mindset. It will bring sunshine to the way that you feel about your body, and that will change everything. So, step number 1, we need to fight fatism, which is the hatred of being fat. We do that by looking at other people and appreciating the wide variety of body types that are in this world. There's a reason we don't all look the same. Did you know that only 1.8% of women genetically have that ideal body figure, that Barbie shape? That means that there are 98.2% of women who do not have that shape. That's most of us. I definitely don't look like Barbie. I've often wished that I could have surgery to gain height instead of just losing weight. I'm very short at 5'2". I definitely do not have that Barbie figure that the media praises so thoroughly. That image that's put in our faces constantly as you walk around the grocery store and see magazines with these gorgeous people. That image of that perfect body shape is everywhere. So it's time for us to start looking at real people with real bodies and finding the beauty there. Look to your mothers and grandmothers. Notice how amazing and beautiful they are and how much you love them, even though their bodies are imperfect. That's going to help you appreciate your own body more. It's worth noting how much beauty standards have changed. I mean, Marilyn Monroe was a size 14, which is considered plus size today. That skinny look comes in and out of fashion. Another thing I think is important, because this was something I really struggled with for a long time. I thought that men only wanted that Barbie look, that skinny, athletic build. I thought that was the only body type that men found attractive. Well, guess what? I was wrong. Men and women like a variety of shapes and sizes. It just depends on the person. And people are different. Thank goodness. There is not one size fits all when it comes to body preference. And what's really amazing to me is that we as people have the capacity to love somebody and find them attractive no matter what size they are. My incredible husband has loved me and been nothing but loving and amazing to me, no matter how much I weighed. At my highest, down to, I currently weigh about what I did when we got married, maybe a little less. And he has loved me through this entire 100 pounds. He has found me sexy and attractive at all sizes. And that's incredible. Number 2, diets don't work. The important thing is that you feed your body the fuel that it needs. Diets are based on money and consumerism. That's the whole point of diet culture, is for them to make money off of your insecurities. And that sucks. That's awful. Maybe we can stop paying people for our own insecurities. We need to take care of our bodies and feed them what they need to be strong and healthy, for our brains to function the way that they are supposed to. We've got to get enough sleep, and that one is so hard for me. Moving our bodies is so important, but it's important to move your body in the way that you can, in the way that feels good to you, not overdoing it with strenuous exercise. A really good place to start if you're struggling with this is just by stretching. Stretch your body, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, feel your muscles contract and expand. Be amazed at the things that your body can do, because even if you are limited, there are still amazing things that your body can accomplish. And the more that you move, the more that you stretch and work those muscles, the more that they will be able to do. Start where you're at. Start where you can, but start. Start moving your body. The other thing I want to talk about with diet culture is food. We need food that fuels us. We need food that fuels our bodies. But the problem here is that we often make food about morality. We make food out to be good or bad. We need to neutralize it. There are no foods that are good or bad. They are just fuel in different ways. We need to consider what is going to fuel our body appropriately now. What is going to make our body feel healthier and stronger now? And you know what? That's not always a salad. That's not always a protein bar or a protein shake. Sometimes that's an ice cream cone. It just depends on what our body needs now. My best advice for you is what I've learned since having this gastric sleeve surgery, and that is to slow down when you eat. Did you know that if you slow down your eating and take longer to taste your food, that you will get sick of that flavor faster, which will help you eat less? Even if that food is a dessert, slow down and savor every bite. Pay attention to the texture. Pay attention to all the little flavor notes that are in it. The slower that you eat, the more that you appreciate your food and savor it, the healthier your relationship with food will become. Number 3 is accept genetics. Genetics are responsible for about 70% of our physique and disease. Did you know that type 2 diabetics have a genetic predisposition? Did you know that not everybody who's obese becomes a type 2 diabetic? That's because it requires the genetic component. But even if you have that genetic component, you can choose things that will help you be healthier. The other thing about accepting genetics is understanding that there's only so much you can control about how you look. Find beauty in your genetics. We are all different, and wishing that we looked like somebody else's family isn't going to do us any good. We need to find the beauty and the joy and the sunshine in how we look and how our families look, because that's who we are. That's where we belong. Number 4, self-hate is about your emotions, not your size. It's about your brain, not about your body. You don't hate your body because your body has too much cellulite on it. You don't hate your body because your booty is too big or your boobs are too small. That's not why you hate your body. You hate your body because your brain is telling you that it should be different. Your brain is telling you that there's a different body shape that would be happier. Your brain is telling you that you feel fat, that you feel like your body doesn't look the way it's supposed to. And so the key to healing your self-hate is healing your brain, not changing your body. Lastly, I want to talk about the media. The media portrays people in very unrealistic ways. Not only does the media portray this body type that is less than 2% of people almost all the time, but it also distorts the images of these already amazingly gorgeous people. It takes these people who already look like Barbie, and then it photoshops their hips and makes them look smaller. It photoshops their face to make it look like they have no pores. These people in magazine images aren't real. They've been edited by computers to look flawless, because nobody is really that flawless. So as you see these images of people, and they make you feel bad about yourself. Pause for a second and remember that even these people who fit in these clothes that are a size 2, that have that exact image that this magazine wanted, even they were not good enough as they were. So many people who are skinny are also struggling to love their bodies. This is not just a problem of fat girls. This is a problem of females. This is a problem of people. We are being bombarded with the message that our bodies are not good enough the way they are, and that if we will just pay somebody else, they can fix that for us. It's a lie. Our bodies are incredible and amazing and beautiful just the way they are. We have to learn to love ourselves now. Can we improve? Sure. Of course. We all need to improve. We can all be better in some ways. But what's the point of trying to improve if you don't love yourself now? How can you improve if you don't think you are worth improving? Well, I want to tell you right now that you are. You are worth it. And your body, no matter what it looks like, is amazing. My faith is really strong, and I want to talk to you guys about how blessed we are to have bodies, because Satan does not have a body. He is doing everything in his power to convince you to dislike your body, to convince you to hate your body, because he doesn't have one. But your body was made by God, and he does not make mistakes. Your body, your genetics, your brain, and all your imperfections were created for a purpose. You were created with flaws so that you could learn to overcome them, so that you could learn to be compassionate to other people who also have flaws, because we all do. You were created for a purpose, a glorious, incredible purpose. The fat that you have on your body, missing limbs, body parts that don't work the way they're supposed to, maybe even a brain that's a little bit broken. You were made for a glorious and wise purpose, including all of those flaws that you hate so much. There is sunshine in them. There is beauty in them. Through them, you can connect with other people who are also struggling. Through them, you can be humbled. And eventually, by the grace of God, your brain, your body, all of you will become perfect through Christ. We have got to learn how to love ourselves, and that includes our bodies. We have to find the sunshine in our flabby parts. We have to find the sunshine in our brokenness, because Christ is there. He has felt all of the pains that we feel. He knows our struggles. He knows our self-hatred to the core. And he wants nothing more than for us to see how incredible we are. I challenge you to find the sunshine. I challenge you to go back and listen to those 5 steps and learn from them and grow from them. Take little baby steps today, if that's all you can do, but start taking those steps to learn how to love yourself, to learn how to love your body. There is peace and happiness when we find the sunshine in our physical bodies.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground, and it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe, and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, 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 oh. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine.